Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, popping, locking, salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the welcome. Welcome to the mashup.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Halloween decorations need to just chill the hell out with the inflatable, do nothing, zero effort bullshit. And you've got this ridiculous symbiotic relationship where people are like, oh, I want to do something for Halloween that takes zero effort. And then capitalism, for once, is failing us because they're like, oh, well, we'll just make something that you just pull out of the box, throw in the general direction of your lawn, and plug into the fucking wall, and you're done. You don't have to go to the effort of people don't realize when they get those skeletons, when you buy those skeletons at Canadian Tire or Spirit Halloween or whatever, they're posable. You don't just have to have them standing there in your yard like this. You can get them doing cool things. I've got one climbing up the side of my house, scrambling like it's, you could do whatever you want. But instead, people are like, oh, well, you know what? I'm just going to get an inflatable minion and an inflatable dragon and an inflatable this and an inflatable that. And then in 2 weeks, I'm just going to put a Santa hat on the inflatable minion. And I've done all of my decorations for my yard for the next 6 months.
So wait, you're against the inflatable minion? Is that what I'm taking from this?
Yes. I want to go back to having cool stuff for Halloween instead of zero effort bullshit.
All right, sure. Mashup 182. Happy Halloween, everyone. Twos. I'm curious. Do you just sit at home on a Halloween night, hand out candy, or are you with the kids?
Well, working today, so
not even handing out candy then.
Well, Mrs. Twos is in charge of the handing out of the candy.
Fair enough.
How about you? You guys going trick or treating?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure we will. Kids love this time of year, so
yeah.
I thought I like the old costumes where like people really built them. Now everybody just buys them. That's probably my annoyance.
Okay, so it's the same thing then.
It's a similar thing.
We're kind of agreeing here.
Right, you remember when everybody used to have like those really creative costumes? You'd be like, man, you put a ton of time in that thing.
You'd be like, you go out, you'd see like a slutty nurse and a slutty banker and a slutty zombie.
Is that what it was?
And like a slutty naval captain. And
those are probably still out there too. You're just getting old.
We can only hope.
You're just getting old. Mashup 182, happy Halloween, happy everything. Welcome back to the Mashup, folks. Thanks for being here with us today. If you enjoy the show, make sure you share it out right now. We got a couple of guests hopping on. Before we get to all that, make sure to like, share, and all that good stuff. I wonder if there's going to be anybody dressed up as a rooster for Halloween. If there is, make sure you forward that on to us.
I would love to see that.
Happy Airborne Friday to everyone out there. I see I missed a call from Mr. Sinclair, but shout out to all our military boys.
He wanted to make sure we knew about the Coots 6.5 story this morning.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, before we bring on our guests, how about you tell us all about the Coots 6.5?
All right. Well, for those of you who don't follow the Supreme Court of Canada very closely, aside from updating their wardrobe and bringing it into the 19th century recently, they also passed a law saying that it's unconstitutional to impose a 1-year minimum sentence for possession of child pornography. Wonderful, great day, a happy day for everybody who loves that sort of thing and doesn't want to have to go to jail. I can see nothing wrong with this decision. Are you kidding me? You know what else is unconstitutional? Raping babies.
Just how I wanted to start off Mashup 182. A nice, dark, awful story.
There's no more minimum sentence for child pornography And yet at the same time, if you don't like the government, you go to jail for 6.5 years or get 18 months of house arrest.
All right. Well, we're off to a great start on Mashup 182.
Don't shoot the messenger.
I'm not shooting the messenger. I'm just. Ay. Okay. Well, all right. All right. Are we gonna? Do you want to bring on Chris right away? I assume so. We're waiting on Peter. We can hop to a couple different things before we bring him in, or do you want to just start?
No, I think it would be good to just kind of get cracking.
Okay. Well, we'll welcome back to the programs consecutive weeks. Chris, welcome back. Chris Sims from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Thanks for hopping back on with us.
Thanks for having me back on for the second Friday. I appreciate the exception.
Well,
I think this is the first time we've ever had back-to-back guests in the same
possible.
week.
It's possible.
I think.
Well, we have a ton of time for Chris Sims, as the audience knows. The big news this week, well, I mean, multiple things this week, but Back to School Act, Bill 2, the notwithstanding clause, teachers ordered back, schools back in, and then insanity ensues. Chris, your thoughts on the week that has been?
Well, it's been really since the start of the strike is what it's felt like. It's felt like a campaign almost. And my first thoughts, of course, went back to the kids. Remember the students? Anyone?
Yeah, you're talking about pawns, right?
Yeah. You'd be forgiven if you're watching a lot of the mainstream media coverage, not all, but a lot of it. You'd be forgiven for thinking that schools were just buildings that were make work projects for education grads and not places where students and children go to get educated and to learn, where the teachers work and to do that. And
You're
so,
sounding
yeah,
like an extremist now, Chris.
I know I'm talking smack here. So, like 700,000 students have gone back to school. Teachers are back at work. I'll put it this way. We are thrilled that the Alberta government did not just cave and do the easiest thing in the world. And that is just to borrow more money, to pile on more debt. You know, this fight was
they did, though.
Pardon me?
They did, though.
They did, but they had already earmarked that amount. So we didn't get up in their grill when they were first saying this is how much we're going to spend. That was back in spring. So 2.6 billion. So this gives the teachers the raise. This hires 3,000 more teachers. This hires 1,500 new education assistants. But the crazy part is when the teachers union came back and said, how about 2 billion more? So like 4.6 billion, like this is crazy pants. So it would have been really easy for the government to just say, you know what, just throw it on the debt. We don't want to have this fight because we don't want to get into it. And they didn't. They dug their heels in and they said, nope, not a penny more. You've got 2.6 billion. We're giving you folks a raise. I'll put it this way. The baseline raise that the teachers are getting is 12% over 4 years. The majority of teachers are actually going to get a raise upwards of 17% in some cases over the next few years. Like, God, you'd be forgiven for thinking with all the noise that's happening right now of, general strike and blah, 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 and we're going to all this other stuff. You'd think that she was pulling a Ralph Klein. I know one of her political heroes, and I'm speaking for a lot of Albertans when I'm talking about Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, one of her political heroes was the late, great Premier Ralph Klein. You'd think we were in Klein days when he cut their pay by 5% and rolled back wages across the government employee sector. They've increased funding by like 33% for education since 2021-22. So yeah, as the tax fighters, we're happy to see that not an extra nickel was spent on this thing. And as a parent, I'm happy my kids are back at school. They like it. They have a lot of friends there. They get a lot of structure out of it. They both went dressed up for Halloween today to school. They all brought treats for their classmates. And for the normal frontline teacher, I was getting emails from many of them, Sean, saying, I can't do this. I'm going 3 weeks without a paycheck. My union's not listening to me. Like, what do I do? I'm happy for them because they deserve to be back at work and they deserve to be getting paid.
So there's this threat to democracy narrative that has been put out. This is a threat to democracy is what has happened here in Alberta. That seems to be the attack on Danielle Smith and the UCP.
The latest one, yes.
Yes, the latest one, correct.
So the reason why that has come about is because the notwithstanding clause hasn't been used a lot out west here. Now, Quebec uses it all the time, provincially. And it is a mechanism of the charter. Like it's a tool within it. It is a function of it. Okay.
It was actually a condition on several provinces signing onto the charter.
Yes. And Peter Lougheed, again, one of our former premiers of Alberta, was the one who was apparently putting his hand on the table and saying, we need a notwithstanding clause back when they were first creating this stuff. So again, it goes back to some Alberta roots here. What's going to come next? I don't know. I've been speaking with constitutional lawyers who are way smarter than me, who have a lot of experience with this. And they keep on saying things like notwithstanding clause is a very important tool. And other provinces do use it. So Ontario had used it, Saskatchewan had used it, and now Alberta has used it. I think there's probably going to be some challenges around it, obviously. But I will point out that I followed the back and forth on this every single day, including over weekends for the entire strike. And the government did offer for teachers to come back to enhanced mediation, meaning you folks go back to work and start getting paid again because they weren't getting strike pay from their union. I will continue to point this out. Those teachers just went almost a month with no pay. Okay. So the government had earlier offered saying, hey, if you guys want to come back to work and start getting paid, we'll keep talking. So the two sides will keep bargaining at the table. We'll go to enhanced mediation. They did try that. I will also roll the clock back a little bit earlier into September. The Alberta Teachers Association leadership tentatively had agreed to this contract. Like the union leadership had agreed to it. So it wasn't some weird foreign thing that was suddenly presented to the teachers. Why so many teachers voted against it? I actually don't know. What's going to happen as a result of the notwithstanding clause invocation? I don't know that either. But I do know that the government did try to go to mediation and the union leadership refused. So here we are.
I don't know how sympathetic I am to the fact that they had to go 3 entire weeks without a paycheck. If this continues going, maybe we should get some type of a CERB benefit for them in this trying time. You know, this 3 weeks to flatten the curve that they went through. Traumatic. I mean, yeah, it absolutely sucks as, you know, somebody from the outside looking in, the thought of going a few weeks without a paycheck because of something that your government is imposing upon you. That's the part I was talking, guy I work with, his wife's a teacher. She makes almost 100K a year. I've never met her, but he's a good dude. And I said, look, you present what they make for what they do to anybody we work with. We would all take that job in about 10 seconds, if that long. And so here's the problem.
I don't know if I'd be a teacher. I don't know. Yeah, my hat's off to teachers. Once again, I don't think I could handle working with kids every day. I love kids, love my kids. They drive me nuts on a daily basis. Sean would go full twos in a classroom, and that'd be healthy for no one.
I think that'd be awesome.
So I have some very fond memories of some great teachers I had. I'm still in touch with some of them. Some of them are even supporters of the Taxpayers Federation. My old history teacher is. Lovely people. The issue here is, one, all of this is paid for by taxpayers. Okay, this is not some magical money pot that we can just give to professions that we like the bestest. So we have a finite amount of resources. We are already in massive debt. So every dollar, to your point earlier, Twos, every dollar that we give to teachers as pay is right now with the increase is borrowed money. So it's borrowed plus interest. Second, we need to actually, to your point, look at the actual pay. So now the contract, which has been legislated, new teachers will start at $71,000 per year. with pension and benefits, super crazy job security.
What's the median income in Canada?
In Alberta, it is exactly 71.
Okay.
So, yeah, right on the nose. So they're starting brand new, fresh as a daisy out of 4-year teachers college.
Making more than half the people in the province.
That's correct. So they're starting at the average. This is what gets me. After 7 years on the job, they're already making over $100,000 a year.
What percentile would that put them in?
Right up there. So you're clocking in, I'd say, if I'm doing the quick math, I'd say they're in the top 25% of earners then, right?
Okay.
And this is the salary grid, right? Like this is just the salary grid, okay? That was released after the deal had initially been rejected, okay? And it made the rounds in the media. And now this is the legislated contract. That's not including like vacation time and time off. I will also point out, and again, this is with respect, okay? Like there are some moments I had in school I'll remember for the rest of my life, like learning Lord of the Flies, learning Macbeth, learning about World War II. Those were good teachers, okay? But all of us get paid certain amounts, okay? I will point out that you can go and look at school calendars, count with your finger on how many classroom days there actually are for teachers, including professional development days. There was a school I was looking at in Red at random that had like 187, 189 days in the classroom per year for the year. An average, a normal work year has like 240 days, not including weekends, holidays, and 2 weeks vacation.
Twos, how many days you working in a year?
Well, this year it's been about, like if we look at the last 365 days, I've probably worked about 361 of them.
This is what I'm saying. And I think sometimes some of the teachers would lose track of that because they haven't worked outside of education. You know what I mean? Like they grew up and went to school like all of us.
They lack perspective.
And then they went to more school to become a teacher, and now they're working still in that school. So they're in that kind of terrarium, and they're not realizing of, oh, I mark on some evenings and weekends. It's like, most professionals put time in to their career, right? And again, I'm going to be blunt. Getting paid $100,000 a year to work in Alberta, largely during daytime, typically Monday to Friday, to teach grade 8 social studies, plus job security and pension and benefits, you're good. You're good. Yep. That's enough. Yep. That's fair. That's enough.
Just say thank you. Here's the thing. What we should have done during this strike was what we should have had was a take your teacher to work day.
How do you come up with these creative ideas, too?
Well, tell me I'm wrong.
He rides around and you work long days, too. You have tons of time to think of creative ways to give them perspective. Correct?
Yes.
That's
that and conversations with Chris, they always get the wheels turning.
Well, it's one of those things where you're sitting there going, okay, yes, and you're hearing now. Can we get into classroom size and complexities and stuff? Because I wanted
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I want to be earnest about this because people are saying, oh, well, you're not addressing classroom size. So I noticed, okay, and I should have queued up the clip just to pump my own tires, but Alberta Premier Danielle Smith watched the interview that I did with that Edmonton teacher who is a CTF supporter, and she was super upset they were on strike and she wanted to go back to work. But she did say that by the end of her grade 11 class in Edmonton, downtown Edmonton, she had like half of her class, like 18 kids in her class, either didn't speak English or had major learning difficulties. Like, that's a lot. And Smith watched it. She quoted it in question period saying, we need to fix classrooms like this. And so what's going to happen going forward is Premier Smith is getting together a team of people, kind of like the Justice League or Avengers or whatever. It's a task force. And they're going to go like school district by school district.
Like the X-Men?
Yeah, right? Can you imagine all those cool superpowers? Anyway, I want to be able to turn invisible. So they're going
that
school
was the
by
Fantastic
school.
Four.
Hey, that was a really good movie. Straight up, that was a good movie with Joseph Quinn and all that stuff. Anyway, I have to focus. Quit distracting me with cool movies. Okay. So she's going to go school by school. Okay. And she wants to figure out the complexity problem and the learning assistance requirements of each school. Because here's the thing. I got a hold of some of this capacity data that's across Alberta. You might have heard the Premier mention it in one of her press conferences. Well, I took a look at some of the capacity data. Guys, there are schools in like Edmonton, Calgary, Red Deer. I was picking them at random. There are schools that are reporting, oh my goodness, we're overcrowded by like 42 kids or like 37 kids. And then like a 5-minute bus ride away, there's room for 80 in another school. Same division, same grade levels, same city, 5 minutes away. They're over capacity. These guys are under capacity, but we should build 100 schools and we're way overcrowded. Like, what's the truth here? That was crazy to me. I was finding example after example of like, why aren't you guys just busing these kids to the available facilities?
Chris,
What are we doing here?
I'm not sure why. It's tricky. You're an incredibly intelligent woman, and yet at the same time, you're pointing out that the people who don't think $110,000 after 7 years working a 9-to-5 job mathematically adds up, and you're surprised that they can't figure out how to just move people around on a map.
Every now and then I still, get my little rose-colored glasses smashed to little pretty smithereens. But
I'm sorry.
thanks,
I'm
Suze.
sorry. I'm sorry.
All right.
But this
Fine.
is like it's
Yeah.
We really need to take your teacher to work day, I think.
We do. And we need, frankly, an overhaul of how we're doing things. Because we need teachers who are good teachers, who get results for their kids, who work hard and who love teaching. We need them to be able to go to work without feeling so much pressure to be so political. I was getting, and I'm going to protect their names because they didn't want to go public like that lady did from Edmonton because she was so mad. But I've heard from other teachers who are getting, what's the word? I don't like using this word because it's overused, but they're getting bullied. They're getting bullied at work because they probably vote differently, or they have more of a small C conservative view, or they didn't want to go on strike, or there was all sorts of reasons where they were feeling so much pressure from their coworkers, like fellow teachers and administrators, to do this. And so we have to also keep in mind, this is money. Like this year, taxpayers are spending $10.4 billion with a B on education, K to 12. That is a 33% increase since 21-22. So like spending's gone like this.
No, the NDP, I literally saw a tweet from the NDP saying that they're cutting education.
That's just untrue. That is just mathematically untrue. I don't care if you dislike Daniel Smith the most ever of a premier and you love Rachel Notley the bestest. Like, I don't care. Mathematically, that is untrue. In 2021-22, we were spending just over $7 billion. This year, $10.4 billion. That goes up, not down.
Any other question, twos, before we let Chris out of here?
Well, actually, you know what? Chris is probably the perfect person to talk about this whole CTV article. I'm guessing you saw the CTV article that said that, well, here's the tweet.
Okay.
And I'm showing the tweet first because the article itself has since been updated. Experts call Alberta's use of the notwithstanding clause a threat to democracy. And then this article went on to talk to several people about it. And they all, including one former Liberal MLA, but that wasn't disclosed, condemned Danielle Smith for it. And so then they issued a correction. Here we go. A previous version of this story referred to the interview subjects quoted as experts. The story has been updated to refer to them as critics.
Isn't that amazing?
She took a ton of hell online over this, including Jason Kenney breaking down in a really long tweet exactly where they were wrong and selectively picking things. And like on an infinite timeline, everything happens. And today, Twos is defending Jason Kenney. And
That is a shocker on this show, isn't it?
I think
Could
it's
we
the first
just
time it's
pause and
ever happened.
rewind that? What did you
Yeah.
just say, Toos?
And so anyway, this caused a huge media firestorm. And then there was another guy who jumped in, Jeffrey Sigalet, who said it's even worse than Jason Kenney knows because CTV News did call and interview me, but apparently my views don't fit the narrative.
Oh, I did not see that, and that's not good. Yeah, they got to fix that. So full disclosure, I worked for CTV, goodness, for like 8-9 years. In the parliamentary press gallery, like right up in there with them, and then also right at the local level, like producing the 5 and 6 o'clock news, like as the editor. So they got to fix that. It's taking off my taxpayer's hat for a second, actually putting it back on for a second. Journalists shouldn't be paid by the government, period. Not one of them. Don't care if they're left wing, right wing, or whatever, down the middle. They shouldn't be paid by the government. But taking off my hat for a second, journalists always are going to have their own biases. They're human beings. They're not robots. But what they must strive to always be is balanced. So you have to be able to reach out to what you would perceive as the other side and try to give them a fair hearing as best you can to provide balance. There's no such thing as true objectivity. Again, we're not data like that android from Enterprise, or
I know who it is.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if you were a Trekkie. Okay. So we're not data. We are human beings. But as professionals who are trained, we are supposed to make sure we try to get both sides. For example, when the government came back in the middle of October and said, this teachers union has come back to the table and demanded an extra $2 billion. So we're offering 2.6 for all this big package. They came back and demanded 2 billion more. I emailed the Alberta Teachers Union to say, is this accurate? Is this true? Because you're supposed to try to source those facts out. Now, they didn't get back to me. Probably not on their Christmas card list. I get that. That's fine. They don't have to answer me. But you should at least try. And so I would really encourage journalists, okay, do your best here. You're going to find lots of critics of Alberta Premier Daniel Smith. It's everybody's most favorite thing to do, especially, east of Manitoba to do. But I strongly encourage you to find constitutional experts who understand how the notwithstanding clause works, what its origins are, what its applications have been in the past, and what its use would look like going forward. And you can find constitutional lawyers who can explain that much more impassively.
One more thing before we let you out of here. This was a tweet from Berta Proud Dad. He was on last week for those.
He was great.
Yes. Well, so he had this. It said, found at Bow Valley High School in Cochrane, Alberta. He goes on to say, teachers aren't doing our kids any favors by allowing this kind of behavior. And what it shows is, where's your Halloween costume? And Daniel Smith saying, I didn't have time for one, as they have her painted up as a clown.
That is a huge disservice. We all know the left can't meme, and you're presenting things like this as mainstream cleverness. It's absolutely infuriating. And for the record, Chris, when I was a kid, I wanted to paint my room, all the walls black with orange stripes.
That was so you could be in the holodeck. So you could just imagine it. So
in a different timeline, a different universe, the two of you would sit here for an hour and a half and discuss the X-Men movie. The Fantastic Four and Star Trek. And maybe some point in time we're gonna have that, because I could see Two's brain. He's just like, I just want to hop in on the pop culture, because I don't know. Have you seen the new Fantastic Four, Twos?
No, I haven't. I went and saw every single. I went 26 times to the theater up until Endgame.
Okay.
For all the Marvel movies.
So you're more of a Marvel guy then? You're not a DC guy?
Oh, I've seen all of those too.
Okay.
And when I found out that Zack Snyder was making Watchmen, I just blew a gasket. Okay.
Absolutely. I have the entire director's cut. It is frame by frame. Yeah.
See what I mean?
And it's like 4 hours.
See what I mean? I'm telling you, folks, in a
Tom
different
Luongo
universe,
needs to jump on.
Yeah, we can have this roundtable discussion. Maybe we'll have a little bit of fun one day when we all just need some light things to talk about. We can discuss.
Yeah. Although, you know what? when it comes to schools and books in schools, I am a bit of a hypocrite because one of the older point twos is very nearly becoming a two, and changed schools, and we did a tour of the school and everything else like that. And I saw in the library that they had the anthology Watchmen, so they had the whole collection there as a book. And I'm like, on the one hand, I don't know if kids should be reading that, but
Well,
on the other hand, that is the best book in this whole library, and you should read it.
what grade level was it?
Well, this was it was open for anybody that was grade 9 to 12.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's violent, but it's not really. Well, I guess there's a couple of things in there, but
Yeah, like
Yeah.
boobs.
it's heroic though. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's all intended to be heroic, right? So sorry, Sean, we will derail this. Twos, I will send you the geek test. Okay, it's been online since the late 1990s. Nobody has beaten me in it yet. I score more than 60%. So it's on like Donkey Kong.
Challenge accepted by Twos and Sean. You better send it to both of us now because I'm very curious. All right, there you go. Twos and Chris Sims have now just become best friends. And if we needed anything,
I'm
more,
wearing
Chris...
your shirt though, Sean. See?
Ooh,
So I still like you too. It's okay.
Looking real sharp. I like that. All right, Chris, thanks for hopping on and doing this again. Yes.
Thanks, boys.
All right. Well, let's get the show back on the rails, shall we? I mean, oh my goodness, all over the place.
I mean, like we literally were just talking about the original Star Trek series about 3 weeks ago.
I know. As soon as you mentioned it, I could see you going.
I said, pardon?
Yeah, you're. All right. Elections Canada mistake hands Quebec riding to the Liberals. I think we all remember this. The riding that got overturned, and then we followed up with it because it actually, I think Vesper was on when we were doing this, if memory serves me correct.
We talked about it for a few weeks as it unfolded.
The winner won by one vote, and then it came out. It actually should have been a tie. The one of the ladies who sent in her vote, it got sent to the wrong address, and now it's come out. It is a simple human error which sometimes occurs in general elections committed inadvertently and without any dishonest or malicious intent. Quebec Superior Court Justice Eric Dufour wrote on October 27th. In this sense, and despite the disappointing result for the elector in Sinclair Desgagne, this error in no way affects the integrity of the Canadian electoral system in which citizens can still have confidence.
It literally exactly does. And as far as confidence in people's integrity, it's easy to be somebody of integrity when it's easy. It's hard to say, hey, you know what? We fucked up and we're going to fix it. And here's how we're going to fix it. That's the hard part. That's where integrity comes in. Them saying, oh, well, this is fine, is the exact opposite of integrity. Integrity isn't just coasting along.
Bill 4. Alberta moves forward with provincial police force proposes changes to Domestic Violence Disclosure Act.
I mean, aside from the alliteration, which is also nice to see, this is good news.
Do you had a couple things in? I can't remember if this was a part of the Alberta tax advantage charge.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
That was just a bunch of stuff with. I mean, you know what? We could talk about that real quick. So the Alberta tax advantage. So this is Sean Amato from Global News saying if Albertans want better healthcare and education, they'll have to tell their MLAs they're willing to pay a little more and then vote that way. And you see this argument all the time on the left. And the graphs they always show are about total spending. They never do anything to establish a positive correlation of any kind between spending and outcomes. Now, when people say the exact opposite, they'll point out how much Canada spends on healthcare versus how many people it kills accidentally, because now we've got to have a provision for that in the math. But, they'll say, okay, well, look, we spent this much money and here's our wait times. We spent this much money and here's how many people get killed accidentally by the system. We spent this much money and here's how many people die on wait lists. And they just say, look, here's a graph with how much money is being spent. And if you were trying to make an honest and intelligent argument about it, you would bring up something like adjusted R-squared values. You would discuss positive correlation. You would look at linear regression. You don't look at any of that because the argument would fall flat on its face. There is, to the best of my knowledge, absolutely no data in any country or any system that can positively correlate spending with better outcomes.
Yeah, we keep throwing money at all these problems and they ain't getting better.
Well, that's
The-
exactly it.
The Andrew, formerly known as Prince. There.
Yeah, great headline, by the way. Hey,
There you go. So he's stripped of all titles. Sorry, all titles stripped. Booted from his place of residency.
Does he get to keep all those medals, I wonder?
I don't know.
Those hard-fought medals. So Prince Andrew, who, aside from being the brother of the King of England, you probably know him as the guy from all the pictures on Epstein Island.
Correct.
And those chickens have come home to roost. And so he got kicked out of the palace. He lost his title. He lost all of the residual incomes and stuff like that. If he was in any way smart at all, he would have had a bunch of that money put away somewhere. Probably invested with Jeffrey Epstein. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably all gone.
Sticking with the UK, the approval rating of the government, 12%. Popularity of Prince Andrew, 13%.
So the current government with Keir Starmer is less popular than that guy we just talked about. Which is why they're shaping up for an absolute blowout.
Here's the electoral map as well.
So the current government is the Labour Party, and they're looking to lose 402 of their 411 seats in the next election.
Yep.
And the only places, interesting urban-rural divide, the only places they're projected to keep the seats are London and Liverpool.
Canadian singer changes lyrics of the national anthem at the World Series game. I don't know how many. I know a ton of, there it is. Canadian singer JP, is it Sax? I don't know. I've never heard of this, guys. Yeah, changed the lyrics of the national anthem at Monday night's World Series game, but instead of saying our home and native land, as the original wording goes, he said our home on native land.
Okay, two main thoughts on this. One, disrespect this anthem as much as you want. I don't really give a shit anymore. I've stopped relating to it years ago. Have it whatever you want it to be. Two, why the hell did they get a ginger to get up there and do the national anthem?
I should have known you were coming with the ginger comments. Tara Armstrong, 1BC. Today, I introduced a bill mandate all new immigrants pay for their own health care, the first of its kind in Canada. Everyone who benefits from our health system must chip in.
Well, I mean, if we're going to get billionaires to pay their fair share, if everybody needs to pay their share, including billionaires, guess who you just accidentally included in that? The people who come here that haven't achieved Canadian citizenship yet, but still have access to healthcare.
Edmonton on immigration. Alberta's population boom isn't sitting well with many Edmontonians. A new City News Canada Pulse Insights poll found most residents now link immigration to worsening local problems, from crowded hospitals to housing shortages. Over half, 52%, say newcomers aren't having a positive impact, while 37% want immigration halted completely. Nearly 60% blame immigration for packed ERs, 64% for the housing crisis, and 69% for youth job struggles.
Edmonton is just unbelievably racist. I don't know if you saw that other video here, but I'm going to bring it up real quick. Somebody has a ticker on the back of their car that says, "Don't be a cunt. Canada is full. Go home." This is the state of racism in Edmonton.
Bill Gates makes a stunning claim about climate change. Climate change is not going to wipe out humanity, he argued, and past efforts that strive for achieving zero carbon emissions have made real progress. But Gates said that past investments fighting climate change have been misplaced and too much good money has been put into expensive and questionable efforts. And although Gates said investment to battle climate change must continue, he argued that President Donald Trump's cuts to U.S. aid threaten a more urgent problem, inflicting potentially lasting global damage to fight a fight against famine and life-threatening preventable sickness.
Sounds like he's walking things back a little bit.
I think, that's interesting. I thought climate change was going to kill us all.
Yeah. It's the single most important threat facing humanity, and there is no planet B. And after he got all the money and the money's starting to dry up, he's like, you know what? It probably wasn't that big of a deal. It's not a coincidence, Sean, that like basically one of the only banned movies, when you look at every single streaming service, there's maybe like 10 movies that you can't find on any of them. And you can find some obscure articles talking and listing them all out. But there's like 10 movies out there out of all the movies ever made that you can't find on any streaming services. You know what one of them is? An Inconvenient Truth. Think about it. You can't find it on Prime. You can't find it on Crave. It's not on Disney Plus. It's not on Netflix. Climate change is super important and super scary, and we have an Oscar-winning movie made by a former vice president of the United States of America focusing entirely on this issue. Shouldn't every single person be watching it? No, because every single thing in that movie ended up being fucking wrong.
I kind of want to go watch it now. I'm going to go search it out. You haven't been able to find it?
Oh, I watched it. You just you get it off.
I watched it a long time ago.
You get it off the high seas of the internet is where you get it.
The high seas of the internet. Why weren't we told sooner about the implication of Aboriginal title? The answer should concern everyone. This is the question that dominated a Richmond public meeting this week on the impact of recent court decisions on Aboriginal title was a simple one. Why weren't we told sooner? Residents had learned just this month, courtesy of a letter from Mayor Malcolm Brodie, the BC Supreme Court decision recognizing Aboriginal title over hundreds of acres of land, city land, could have a negative impact on private land within the area. It goes on and on and on. The court rejected the application, saying that at that stage that no remedy from the court would impact the private landowners is probably an important line. So at one point, they rejected telling all the landowners because they thought, this won't impact them.
This won't be bad. This won't be a big deal. Apparently, there's $100 million infrastructure project that the funding dried up for after this whole land titles thing. There's a guy. The story doesn't quite seem to make sense. He's lived on the land since 1975, and his bank told him he's not renewing his mortgage. Now, if you just do some quick math on how long mortgage terms are in Canada, you would say, how the hell does he still have a mortgage on this place? So I didn't include that one. But the point is that the ripple effects are coming. And, you know, you could talk as much as you want about the idea of Western separation chilling investment, but banks have
it's going to chill investment,
not clear ownership of whose land it is,
going after property rights.
Yeah.
I would think that's going to chill investment real fast.
Look, Economic Facts and Fallacies. Thomas Sowell has an entire chapter devoted to the positive correlation between the amount of property rights in a country and the amount of foreign investment.
Yes.
Oh, you read it?
No, I'm agreeing with what you're talking about. Actually, Thomas, is it Soul?
Soul.
He 95 years old. That's man. I'm like,
that's who you need for episode 1000. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm like, do I just fly to the guy? Do I just go
whatever
knock on
it
his
is
door?
If he's like, the only place I will do this interview is in Antarctica, you say, okay, fair enough, I'm on my way.
Did Peter Schultz just walk in the studio? Peter,
yeah,
I've been
Peter.
on hold for 45 minutes because the blue button is below the window, and I didn't know I needed to scroll down.
Fair enough. Well, Peter,
Oh.
we've let's bring up the notwithstanding clause. That's what you wanted to comment on. We'll
Yeah.
pause on.
Hi, Peter.
Yes,
Hi.
great to have you on, Peter. You wanted
Sorry
to
about
say
that.
something on notwithstanding clause being implemented here in Alberta.
The notwithstanding clause was put in on the request of Premier Lougheed during the Great Constitutional Debate to prevent the courts from going hog wild because the courts were giving too much power. And some social decisions belong in the democratic sphere. They do not belong in the legal sphere because although a lot of judges and some lawyers think that they're above the rest of us, they are still people. So was it right for Danielle Smith to use the notwithstanding clause? Yes, because the right to strike was created by the courts. By the Supreme Court of Canada out of something that they read in the Constitution. And there is a long litany in his history of these mainly Trudeau-appointed judges of saying things like, they make the law. When someone says, I make the law, in my mind, you're no longer qualified to be a judge.
Well, don't tell that to Sylvester Stallone.
Well, yeah, but they're not Sylvester Stallone. So, yeah, no, I fully support the Premier's decision on this. I mean, one thing, I saw this coming about a year ago, this general debate, and we had some quiet debates inside, with colleagues. Should we create a set of guidelines? Should the province have a set of guidelines on when it will consider invoking the notwithstanding clause under normal circumstances? Because so many of the judges in Canada are now appointed by Trudeau. And as we all know, Trudeau didn't care one thing about the law or the Constitution. He just wanted his agenda to move forward, and he's appointed judges according to that, and they dominate the judicial sphere. It was decided against that at that stage because we didn't know who was going to be coming towards us, and that was probably the right decision because we didn't see this. We weren't anticipating the teachers would go on strike, even though all their demands were met.
Yeah, I don't know if we talked about it with Chris Sims earlier, and I don't know, Tuesday, if you have a question, fire away.
I mean, Peter, right at the end, especially there, you brought up a really good point, and that's that all of their demands have been met. And so Danielle Smith, I think she did a decent job of it, but she probably could have tried a little bit better in terms of navigating the legacy media slant against her, where it's just, you have everything that you asked for in this offer and you're rejecting it. What more do you want aside from everything else that you have asked for?
Well, the teachers, I would hazard to say the teachers are being used as a political weapon by the powers that be, and the mainstream media are definitely connected to that. I'm just watching overall behavior of the federal government. Putting what's his name, Sean Fraser, as justice minister, I was like, you're kidding me, right? The guy has not had an original idea since he was 5 years old, and now you're making him justice minister. What's the first thing he goes? I mean, did you see that interview with him last week, where he's, the new hate crime laws, where where cabinet decides what a hate crime is and where they're uncomfortable, and he's reading it like he's reading a pricing list on a tree at a nursery in the spring. He's going, yeah, so for this one we're doing 5 years, and for this one we're doing 2 years. I'm like, you're talking about people's lives. You're stifling free speech. You're going to make it a terror for me to say something like, I don't agree with gay marriage. I could suddenly go in prison because you don't like it and you don't like me. That is really concerning. So, and the first thing you went after, you brought it to the Supreme Court, is a notwithstanding clause. So limiting, so that he's asking the Supreme Court, which is supposed to be limited by the notwithstanding clause. Can you limit the notwithstanding clause?
Well,
is this terrifying? Yes. Remember, the first thing the courts did, if the first two items of the Constitution say, whereas Canada is founded upon number one, the supremacy of God, and two, the rule of law. And the Supreme Court said, well, we can't define God, so the first one doesn't apply in our thinking right off the bat. So they gave themselves carte blanche to rewrite the line anytime they want to, and now they're going after the notwithstanding clause. They're going to rule against it, and to me, that is a genuine case for independence. I've stated before, I'm really only for a short Alberta independence or provincial or Saskatchewan Alberta independence collectively in the short term, if there is an immediate risk to life and liberty and property for us here in these provinces, and that will be one of them.
Well,
and they are going. So yeah, I'll stop there.
Oh, I was just going to say we could definitely talk a little bit. Literally, the next thing we're going to talk about is the petition. But if us signing on to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms was conditional on the notwithstanding clause, I mean, you can't retroactively alter a contract.
It's
right?
more of a covenant than a contract. A constitution is really more in the realm of covenants. And it is a severe violation of what is a very sacred agreement, whether you call it a contract or a covenant. I think we will have a real unity crisis if this passes, and we need to be pushing hard. This is a real threat for a liberal tyranny if you eliminate the notwithstanding clause capacity of the provinces or the federal government.
Well, talking about the petition, Thomas Lukazik, today I submitted 456,365 Albertan signatures to Elections Alberta petitioning the Premier to do the right thing, avoid a divisive and economically harmful referendum, and allow MLAs to vote and reaffirm that Alberta's future is in Canada.
First off, I just want to point out that that's a suspicious number. 456,365. But at the same time, the next thing is a Keith Wilson. Here's one of the great things about lawyers is that they're very detail oriented. And so Keith Wilson actually went and took the trouble of reading the documents that Thomas Lukazik filed with the provincial government. And the application is motivated by, I'm picking selectively here from the points. Since referendum appears to be imminent anyway, it should be objective and not directed by special interest groups. Therefore, we, as represented by the signatory and applicant below, propose a referendum on the following question. Do you agree that Alberta should remain in Canada? Now, keep in mind that referendums are yes, no questions. So if you have a question that says, do you agree that Alberta should remain in Canada? Yes or no.
And everybody votes no.
Is exactly the same as saying, should Alberta separate from Canada? Yes or no. It's exactly the same thing.
But isn't this what
if I have a coin and I'm holding up one side of it and I ask you yes or no, is it heads? I will get the exact same information from you as if I ask you yes or no if it's tails.
Isn't this what we've been saying though, Twos? Like if they go through with this and they get the referendum on this question, then you go all out and vote no.
Have to do it anymore. Specifically had
they accidentally triggered an independence referendum, which they opposed. Did you see that post? Did you see that post that Derek Hildebrand put on with the Riddler going, no, that's not what I wanted to do.
Yes, well, I mean, there's been a ton of that because this by doing this, they're actually putting to the Alberta population what the independence people want. They wanted to question a referendum.
Triggered an independence referendum, and now I'm getting news that apparently Quebec is saying that they are now a free province and that they're going to set up their own constitution. Do you know anything about that?
I know that there was somebody in question period talking to what's his name, Stephen Gayballs, about going back and forth in question period about Quebec independence, and he was given a bunch of non-answers. But this is beautiful. Like, regardless of where you stand on Albertan separation, the fact that you could have some blowhard used car salesman go down in the annals of history as the guy who accidentally triggered the secession of a province by trying to do the opposite, you should just vote for separation just so that can happen. That would be the funniest cell phone in probably not cell phone, but self-own in the history of the country, easily, probably one of the all times, like 3,000
probably
years
the
from
all
now,
times. Yes,
Probably 3,000 years from now, there's going to be some short video on YouTube Mind Reader, whatever, talking about the 10 stupidest things that humans have ever done. And Thomas Lukazik is going to be like number 4.
Yeah. And this notwithstanding thing is going to be really dependent on whether I vote yes or no. I've already been on the show. I said very clearly why I don't think Alberta's ready financially for independence, why I've got issues with geography, But all that goes to pot when the federal government is setting up that they can put me in prison or my friend in prison or take away my children on a whim. That is not a free country anymore. That is a full-on dictatorship. As I've said also on this show, I would rather live in like a full-fledged dictatorship like North Korea almost, because there you know what the rules are.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, do not criticize the government, do what you're told, or you will be in trouble. So you know what the rules are, right? You feel almost a sense of security.
Those are the same rules here though.
Yeah, but they decide, the cabinet will decide whether they like somebody or not, and they'll change the rules. So you may be thinking you're free, but you're not free. So everything has become high stress. What can I say? What can I not say? I don't, and you never know if you're sure or not. In a true tyranny, you can say, okay, I'm getting out of here somehow. Here it's like, should I or should I not?
Peter, you better buckle up. You're going to become a separatist pretty darn quick, because the way this government's going, I don't see anything all of a sudden just course correcting.
Yeah, unless the government falls, which could happen at the budget. So we don't. It's everything's up in the air.
It is interesting.
Not conducive for doing business. I'm trying to find investors for freaking railways across the country. Some of them are based overseas. What do they say? What the heck is going on in Canada right now? I'm not investing 10 million or 20 million or 200 million on infrastructure or industrial parks in Canada when I don't know what the heck's going on. I'm going to sit back and wait. It is not conducive for business. Sean Fraser, please go away. Pull this thing out. We got work to do, like real work, not this nonsense.
Peter, we appreciate you hopping on. And
sorry for the delay, and sorry for my
no.
You picked a great time. You picked a great time to get in.
Yeah, old age is sneaking up. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Peter. All right. Well, there you go. Separate times, but Peter Schultz hopping on as well
with some quality breakdown. It is interesting. I don't know if you've noticed this or not. We've got a mutual friend who I've seen get more and more frustrated over the years, and I'm just like, that guy's 6 months away from being a separatist. And I talk to other people I know in just regular everyday life, and they're 6 months away from being an extremist. They're 6 months away from being a racist. They're
You've seen the memes of like when your friends start to wake up and you're like, right? You just sit back and watch.
That's exactly it. You're just like you're
the same thing with what you're talking about.
But it's fun to just watch the wheels. That wheel kind of just slowly tick, 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 tick.
It's not that bad. No,
and
we can remain in this country. It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's getting bad. Man, I think of that. No. Oh my God. Yes,
and 6 months from now, they're going to be separatists. And a year from now, we're going to be pulling these people aside and be like, look, you just got to chill things out a little bit.
Oh, man. Okay. Here's Keith Wilson. Okay. Pull it up. He says, Ottawa hides the truth. Zero coverage from legacy media of Alberta's largest independence rally ever at the legislature Saturday. There's a video showing the giant crowd.
Despite the fact that Global had a helicopter flying over top of it. The Global News helicopter was literally circling Parliament while this protest was happening, and nobody in legacy media even talked about it. But at the same time, you've got hundreds of Montrealers join march calling for Quebec independence. You literally have the exact same story in the exact same week being covered completely differently. You've got a much smaller version of this story in fucking Quebec that gets coverage. But when it's multiples of that in Edmonton,
nothing. Crickets.
Dead silence, despite the fact that they were literally there covering it.
Yes. Okay. China agrees to purchase 25 million metric tons
Oh,
of
wait.
U.S.
We got to get it. This definitely deserves the headline.
elbow draggers. China agrees to purchase 25 million metric tons of U.S. soybeans annually, Treasury Secretary says.
Oh, and I pasted the wrong article. I've got the CN Rail in here twice. But the corollary article is that India just announced 30% tariffs on our soybeans.
CN Rail lays off some 400 managers as tariffs take a bite out of shipping volumes. Canadian National Railway is laying off about 400 managers as tariffs imposed by the U.S. and Canada take a toll on freight traffic. Do you want me to just rattle these off? I assume you just want me to rattle these off. Yeah.
Just
Governor of Bank of Canada reverses years worth of forecast, says recession now likely, if not already underway, and that our standard of living is going to be lower for years to come.
What came after that? The day after that was that our GDP shrank by 0.3%.
Trump and the Prime Minister of Japan sign agreements on strategic investments in critical minerals, ushering in a new golden age for the U.S.-Japan alliance. Meanwhile, Canada also had its eye on Tokyo during this trip, but Japan said it could not fit in 2 state visits right after an election, according to the Canadian government officials. However, Canada's ambassador to Japan says that should not hardly be interpreted as a snub.
It's not a snub. We just don't. It's not. We're snubbing you. We're just indifferent. And to be honest, that's probably even worse.
The mayor hasn't stopped smiling since battery plant in St. Thomas, Ontario, officially under construction. Ground has officially been broken on Volkswagen's PowerCo electric vehicle battery gigafactory in St. Thomas. The mayor hasn't stopped smiling since, said St. Thomas Mayor Joe Preston. The milestone kicked off development of 3 major buildings at the site, making it the largest facility of its kind in the country, with full production expected to begin in 2027. And south of the border, GM lays off more than 1,700 at sites in Michigan, Ohio, citing EV challenges.
Yeah. Read the room. Now, I just want to point out, they mentioned multiple times that this mayor has not stopped smiling. This is from the video of him. Not smiling. Not smiling. Well, that's not him. But definitely not smiling there. Oh, look at that. He looks like somebody just farted.
Beautiful. Okay.
Has not stopped smiling. He didn't smile once in that thing.
Ottawa police reporting 63% increase in crime in the last 10 years. Notably, police are reporting
the major change. Did anything change 10 years ago?
Notably, police are reporting 12,100 shoplifting incidents in 2024, a 384% increase compared with 2015. The only crime that saw an overall decrease was mischief, which was down 13%.
In Ottawa. We're talking specifically about Ottawa.
Assaults, uttering threats, sexual violation, homicides, and auto theft were all higher in 2024 than they were in 2015.
Everything but mischief.
Everything but mischief. Sam Cooper, how can we seek better balance between investigative journalism and not undermining Canadians' trust in our institutions?
So let's just play this real quick.
Okay.
I had to restart my computer right before we got on, so I might not be at the right spot, but here we go.
You have written a lot on interference and transparency. And so my question is as follows. How can, in the public space, we better seek a better balance between investigative journalism and at the same time not undermining the Canadians' trust in our institutions?
Just think about that question for a minute. He's basically presenting it as though the foregone conclusion is that the stronger the investigative journalism is in this country, the lower the trust will be in the institutions. And so he's saying, well, how do we strike a balance between the two? Because the more, presumably, when investigative journalists investigate things and find them out, they will publish those, and then the public will read about it. And so He's saying we need investigative journalism, but we also need trust in our institutions. And if we have too much investigative journalism, we're going to have too little trust in our institutions. As in, the more people know about what the fuck our institutions are doing, the less they're going to trust them. And he's trying to figure out where the happy balance is with investigative journalism. How about you just stop doing things that are going to make us not trust you, asshole?
I had Sam Cooper on the podcast today. That came out today. So
yeah, so this is Sam Cooper. Sam Cooper was asked that question.
Yes, because Sam Cooper's investigative journalism has raised a lot of questions about a lot of different things in government and police.
And the more people know about it, the less they trust us. So how can we stop investigative No, just stop being assholes. That's it.
It will be 6 months Tuesday since Mark Carney became the MP for, is it Nepean? Nepean? Yet Mr. Reliability still has no local office for constituents to get help. You won't hear that in Ottawa media, but there has been no steady community representation since he was elected.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? He hasn't even bothered getting a local office set up. Even Trudeau had one. I was there. I went and knocked on the door. They were closed because it was during the lockdowns.
You went to Trudeau's office?
Yeah. Yeah. I actually
shoot
here. I'll show you what I did. So I happened to be in the vicinity of Montreal in 2020. And so I printed up a whole bunch of flyers. And so it says 222 of these bad boys have been put up in Trudeau's riding of Papineau, downtown Montreal, and in front of his MP office. So here's what they looked like. They had a bunch of pull tabs on the bottom with a bunch of the stupid things that Trudeau had done. And it just said people, I think this was even before I started the podcast. And so I had a QR code going to my Twitter account, and it says, because jokes are funnier in English. And then it says that in Spanish. And then it says that in Arabic. And then it says it in Vietnamese. And then it says excessive hand waiting, a bim and a bomb and a pizzeria English. So I did it in every language, including Italian, but not French, in fucking Quebec. And so you can see there's the Leonard Cohen mural, and there's one up right by it. This is some fancy old ass church just down the street from Trudeau's riding. This is the fancy art museum downtown with one right across the street from it. And I actually just put one right in front of Trudeau's office.
Well, I remember that. I just didn't, I didn't realize, I don't know. But I guess my memory's a touch foggy on that. Here's a funny one. I mean, the result isn't funny, but I'm very curious what Tuz have to say about this. Calgary senior charged with manslaughter in Northwest McDonald's parking lot fight. 2 70-year-olds went at it, and he killed them.
Well, it was a 79-year-old and a 76-year-old. They were very nearly octogenarians, and they got in a scrap in a parking lot at McDonald's, and one of them died.
In Calgary.
Now, is this something where, I mean, dude was almost 80 years old. Maybe it was just his time. And I don't understand why you'd want to bother fighting with somebody that old anyway, because you just be like, look, I don't know what the big deal is. Why do we even care? You're going to be dead in 6 months. But imagine that somebody in their 70s has enough physical prowess to kill somebody else in their 70s.
You got a Big Mac, you're walking outside, you're all in a good mood, right? You got a little Mickey D's, eh? Mm-hmm. And then you walk outside and there's 2 70-year-olds going at it.
And then one of them dies?
And then one of them dies in Calgary.
Yeah, and there's nothing in there about gunshots or stabbings or anything like that. He just beat them to death.
Correct. I wonder what they were arguing about.
I'd love to ask them, but one of them's dead and the other one probably doesn't even remember this whole thing happening.
Truck driver industry crackdown coming in budget to target Drivers, Inc. The federal government is promising a crackdown on allegations of widespread fraud in the trucking industry.
Okay, just stop. So you see this article and you're super excited because, hey, we're going to cut down on the issue of the trucking industry and how it's gone completely bananas. We need to solve this. We've been calling for it for months. Everybody's talking about it every day on social media. The government is going to fix this right on. Well, what's the problem? What are they going to do to solve it?
Job Minister Patty Haydu told House of Commons Committee Thursday the government has set aside millions to deal with what experts say is the widespread misclassifying of truck drivers as independent contractors rather than employees to exploit tax and labor law loopholes that benefit employers.
That's it. We're going to solve the problems with the trucking industry. We're going to spend several $1 million getting Revenue Canada to reclassify them. That's
the problem.
That's the
and
problem.
That's their fix. Yep.
And that's, yeah. So, I mean, no more issues. We can all just go back to normal. Thank you, Liberals. Thank you, the government of Canada. You have heard that we are not happy with the trucking industry. You've looked into it, determined what the problem is, and you're going to solve it. Well done.
Ahmed from National Council of Canadian Muslims is upset that the Muslim charities get audited by CRA. He claims CRA is systemically Islamophobic.
Here's the thing. An audit is where they call you up and said, hey, you guys claim this on your tax return. We just need some proof. What do you have for receipts? Can you send us the
You cut out, Tews. I can't hear you. Now I can.
Okay. I wonder if I got to get a new...
A faulty line?
Yeah. Well, luckily I got some spares. I had to pick up some spares after Sean borrowed one of mine, and
I gave it back. Gave it back, folks.
All right.
Who's telling stories again? I gave it back.
Anyway. Where was
On
I?
a side note
last thing
of lines, I bought new XLR cords.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a package show up. I had XLR cords. I'm like, no, there they are. Right on. New studio. I'm going to get them all. And I had another package show up. I'm like, what the hell is this? Open it up. It's more cords. I'm like, oh no. I bought like way too many XLR cords. So I got cords for days.
Well, I just bought yesterday. We were running low on envelopes at the store. So if you've got the cash that's got to go to the bank. And, we've got somebody working for us now. So pay stubs are going to go in an envelope. And I had a handful of envelopes that had been sitting in my filing cabinet for 15 years. But we're starting to run low. And so I just go on Amazon. I don't really look. I'm like, okay, Amazon Basics, click, boom. Shows up 500 envelopes. It's like a 20-pound box of letter envelopes.
Well, you won't need any for a while.
Envelopes than we will ever need. We're going to have to put them in the will. They're going to be one of the itemized things when we finally retire and close the store and sell it off to somebody.
And Dad left me 420 envelopes. What? What? Is it what? Yes. Okay. Two as well. Recall petition approved for Alberta MLA Dimitrios Nicolaitis.
Yeah. I just want to point this out here real quick. Let's look at this for those of you watching along. There is a picture of a UCP MLA standing in what appears to be a bar next to some VLTs. Now, recall petition approved for Alberta MLA Dimitrios Nicolaitis. Now, if we go to Dimitrios Nicolaitis' picture, this is him. If we go to Dale Nally's picture, this is him. CTV wrote an article about Dimitrios Nicolaitis and accidentally put in a picture of Dale Nally.
Are we surprised?
Pay for this. Our taxes pay for these guys to fuck up this badly.
Ottawa cutting immigration has eased pressures on housing and labor from the National Post. Ottawa hitting the brakes on population growth by drastically cutting incoming immigration has...
Stop.
You don't want any of that. You don't want any of that.
I don't want any of that. What I want to look at is this tweet from Mark Miller. Ottawa cutting immigration has eased pressures on housing and labor, from the National Post. From 8th of September, 2023, from Mark Miller. Stopping immigration won't fix Canada's housing crisis.
Something that
Stopping immigration won't fix Canada's housing crisis, all the way to Ottawa cutting immigration has eased pressures on housing and labor.
This is Pierre Poilievre's inspiration for his recent attacks on Trudeau. It's a picture of Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
So on October 30th, Donald Trump had said that Joe Biden was a criminal and should be in jail, a major lowlife, and a fail, an ugly person, both inside and out. I beat him badly and love watching him squirm now. He's probably twitching, but fair enough. Okay. All right. And so this liberal urbanist and proud Canadian says this is Pierre Poilievre's inspiration for his recent attacks on Trudeau. Now, for those of you following the timeline, when Trudeau said on Northern Perspective that, or when Poilievre said on Northern Perspective that Trudeau should be in jail, that was about 2-3 weeks ago. And this guy says that the October 30th statement was inspiration for Poilievre's speech 2-3 weeks ago. So unless Poilievre has a flux capacitor in his back pocket and just got hit by lightning, I don't think that that's actually factually correct.
Bruce Anderson, this isn't complicated. If an election happens, it will be because the opposition parties decided to cause one.
No, it'll be because the Liberals. So what he's talking about is that the budget has to get passed in the legislature, and it's a vote of confidence. So if it doesn't pass, we go to an election. And so he's saying that if we go to an election, it's because that vote didn't pass, and that's because that's the opposition's fault. Motherfucker, no. It's because if they present a stupid ass budget that nobody can support, they're not going to.
Coronavirus found in samples from 96% of flights. If you believe it's now safe to fly without a protective mask, you might want to rethink that again. New research shows that COVID-19 virus has been found on nearly every flight tested.
I just don't think we're scared enough. Like, I can't even think of the last time I got vaccinated.
This is Just Bin's tweet. Duck Lake might regret opening up its renaming.
So what's happening is that Duck Lake's a little bit strapped for cash. So Lac de Quack up on the way to PA. For those of you who don't know Saskatchewan too terribly well, what was that famous artist who was from there? Glenn Scrimshaw?
Sure.
Anyway, in an attempt to scrap together a little bit of money, they put it out and they wanted to see if anybody wanted to just buy naming rights for the town. And then Pornhub issues this statement. It's come to my attention that the town of Duck Lake, Saskatchewan is looking to sell the naming rights of the town to help pay for infrastructure upgrades. I'm emailing you as a Canadian company to bring awareness and possibly interest in buying the naming rights and renaming the town to Pornhub, Saskatchewan. The Pornhub name would be on GPS, all map, and weather apps. As a Canadian property, Pornhub has smashed records, spanked the competition, and choked naysayers and left the industry on their knees. To have municipal recognition of such a massive and historic Canadian property would be unprecedented. Not only this, but as a corporation, you would have positive publicity in that you've helped revitalize a struggling town in need of repairs. So this is like Bodie McBoatface, but Pornhub McPornhub.
Search is on for 3 escaped monkeys after truck overturns on Mississippi Highway.
There are 3 rhesus monkeys out in the wild right now, but not where they're supposed to be. They're in the southern U.S. and they're just running around. Apparently, there were 21 in the truck.
18 of them died.
And they're trying to track down the other 3 that have gotten away. This shouldn't be really all that hard. You just put out a bunch of bananas. They're monkeys. Like, what? You just like some farmer's going to say, well, you know what? One of the cows was looking a little bit weird and I couldn't quite figure it out. And then after a few weeks, I put it together that it was a rhesus monkey. They're not exactly inconspicuous in the continental United States. Like, what are they going to wear? Like the fake nose and big goofy glasses? Nobody's going to recognize them. It's a fucking monkey.
Canada Post lays off dozens of managers amid restructuring labor dispute. These changes are a continuation of our corporate-wide restructuring efforts to better align our management team with the future needs of the organization.
You know what they're doing? They're laying the groundwork to lay off a whole bunch of the plebs. I hope.
Here is Scott Moe. He said, today's $80 billion nuclear reactor deal between Cameco, Brookfield, and the U.S. is a transformational partnership that will benefit Saskatchewan, Canada, and the U.S. by building North America nuclear technology, utilizing Canadian uranium, and ensuring Saskatchewan jobs for years to come.
The only company in Canada that can get an energy project approved,
Brookfield.
It's so weird. Okay, next one.
Here you go. Okay. Here's Garnet Genius. He says she deleted the tweet. Sure. Hopefully exposing how liberals
I made that mistake.
Here's Dr.
Don't beat yourself up about it.
CBC just
It's all good, Sean. Just keep going.
Do you want me to read this? Do you want me to read this? Tuesdays having way too much fun. CBC just defended their voting against the National School Food Program by saying that parents would prefer to feed their kids themselves rather than have government feed them. The logic here.
Go figure. This is the same lady who's fixing the trucking industry, by the way. She thinks it's weird that people would rather feed their kids than have the government do it. And she doesn't understand that. Why wouldn't you want the government to feed your kids?
Advocates calling Carney to keep his promise to not cut foreign aid in budget.
Fuck that.
I want to bring this up here. Where are you at? The NDP now apparently classifies executive members in two categories: non-male and male.
Yeah. Which is kind of sexist. You'd think it would be female and non-female.
So, the NDP, not a serious party, folks. We have the ump, okay? Here is, I think, well, I don't know. Maybe people, you see, he thinks he gets a walk, right? Bo Bichette's walking a second. They tag him out. A little double play action. And then if you scroll down to the strikes called. Now, obviously, the one off the ground, he swung at that. But the other ones, yeah.
Yeah, that number 5 pitch or number 6 pitch. Yeah. That's a ball. And everybody thought it was a ball. And he was just walking. Oh, shit. Well, now he's out and it's a double play.
Yeah.
Based off of a bad call. You'd think that the women were umping again, given how bad some of these calls have been.
Leaked files reveal CRA refunded millions by mistake.
Oh, no. These are the people we're going to put in charge of fixing the trucking industry? So apparently there's a $5 million cap on basically anything underneath $5 million.
They don't look at.
Approved without even looking at, which I really would have liked to have known
more than 2 years
ago,
after paying out. No kidding. No, more than 2 years after paying out $4.99 million in allegedly bogus refund. The Canadian Revenue Agency is stuck in federal court trying to figure out where the money went and how to get it back.
So it fell just short of the $5 million threshold for manual review. If I'd have known that I just filled out the right form and the government of Canada would cut me a check for $4.97 million, I would be having this conversation from international waters. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. These are the kind of things we need to talk about more. So if you have any other tax tips like this, I would really love to hear them.
Okay. What do we have here? We have Two's right of the week.
Oh, Two's was right? What was he right about, Sean?
I don't know, Two's. What were you right about?
Well, let's just take a look at this.
Senior politics editor at Politico, Sally Goldenberg, and Telemundo 47 anchor, Rosarena Breton. This is a 2-hour debate.
All right, so we have talked about this, and I just don't get why we do this, who started it, when this started. But whenever it is a Spanish name, we are all suddenly required and expected to shapeshift into the perfect Spanish accent. Normal, everyday news people do it all the time. They forget years of training. They forget their non-regional diction. That Telemundo anchors, by the way, Rosarena Brenton. Just say Rosarena Brenton. But for whatever reason, we all feel the need to pronounce it like we're living in Mexico, like we're living in a country where Spanish is the native tongue. That's not the case here in the U.S. Rosarena Bretonia. He said it. I couldn't understand what he was saying. As I've said before, I am Irish. And if I was moderating that debate, would the host introduce me as Robert James Finnerty, don't you know, the little lad? That he is, Robert James.
So anyway, this is some really good points he brings up. You know what? I'm so glad he thought of something like this. I have so many tabs open that this thing can't even think right now. Let's go back to the election. Some of our favorite people are on this screen right now. When Marty was talking about Seamus O'Regan, he's not like, oh, and it looks like Seamus O'Regan is going to lose his seat.
Royale with cheese. Remember that?
Twos was talking about this 6 months ago.
As always, leading the way here on the mashup. Happy news. We got some happy news this week, Twos. Kevin, I know you're watching this. Okay. Jagmeet Singh fought in a jiu-jitsu tournament for the first time in 20 years and won gold. I want to come to that. I want it to be a pay-per-view event. I want Jagmeet Singh and Kevin to go at it. Kevin, accept the challenge, man. Accept the challenge.
You know what? I've got nothing but respect for great stewards of wonderful sports. And I think the Jagmeet Singh here, representing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is very well done, and we're all really proud of him.
And for those of you listeners who don't know who Kevin is, he's got his black belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He is a beast of a man, and I'm like,
yeah,
this can't happen soon enough. We'll televise it on the mashup. I'm telling you, we will come live to location. There's
anywhere.
We're like, you want to go live location for this whatever political event? I'm like, I don't know. The MASH really doesn't. You want to televise a jiu-jitsu tournament where Jagmeet faces off against Kevin? I know Twos and me will take time off of whatever we're doing. I'll tell the family, listen, I just got to go for a few days, okay? I will be back, and we will televise that for you all.
Yeah. I'm going to be back so energized. You're not even going to be mad I was gone. I'll be so pumped up. I'll redo all the eavesdropping and do all the dishes, and the floor is going to be swept, and everything's going to be done, and I'm going to be on this big manic high.
Canada not on track to meet 2030 climate goals.
There's some other happy news.
And then you got this. Don Cherry, longtime Coach's Corner host, has officially received the King Charles III Coronation Medal. Shout out to Don Cherry. And then I thought this was good too. Trey Savage. I don't know how many people, I know the bread and circus, but it is cool to watch a young guy do what he's doing at the highest level. Most strikeouts in a single World Series game by a rookie at 12. Most strikeouts in a single postseason by a rookie, 39. Most strikeouts without issuing a walk in any World Series game in MLB history. Most swing and misses forced in any single World Series game in MLB history, 23. First rookie with multiple starts with 10 plus strikeouts in the postseason in MLB history. First rookie in World Series history to strike out 5 consecutive hitters. Most strikeouts by a Blue Jay in postseason history, 39. Only 2 postseason starts in Blue Jays franchise history with 10 plus strikeouts. 11 versus the Yankees, 12 versus the Dodgers. He was drafted just 15 months ago by the Toronto Blue Jays, and he started off in single A ball twos. Like, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. That's basically like that Zamboni driver winning the Vezina.
Yes. Some community notes. The UCP AGM.
Real quick, there's this American guy who went up to Toronto for one of the games, and he said, had my first Caesar. It was life changing. So yeah, anyways, I thought that was cool because Caesars in every way are vastly superior to Bloody Marys.
There you go.
Caesars were invented in Alberta.
Were they? I didn't know if
Yep.
I knew that.
Yep.
Community notes, the UCP AGM, November 28th. Okay. November 28th.
Today's the last day for early bird ticket prices.
So if you're going, today would be the day to buy.
Mhm.
Quick Dick McDick Live, November 22nd in Lashburn. You can go to showpass.com/Lashburn. I think they got under 100 tickets left for that, folks. So it's selling out quick. Mashpeel, January 17th. We got 12 teams left. I think it's now under 12 teams. So if you're wanting to get in as a single or as a team of 4, head to showpass.com/Mashpeel. We're going to be in Kalmar, Alberta for that. The Cornerstone Forum returns March 28th at the Weston Calgary Airport. So get your tickets there. That's going to be an exciting day, weekend.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna be a day. Let me tell you, I'm excited for it. So if there's some things coming up that you should mark on your calendar.
Yep.
And
National Citizens Inquiry, Brandon, Manitoba, November 6th to 8th. So yeah.
That's what we got for you today. Folks, we're here every Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Happy Halloween to everybody out there. Mashup 182 in the books. Twos, as always, good seeing you. And
it's great. If you guys enjoyed this, share it with your friends. Tell them how often Twos was right.
We'll catch up to you next week, folks. Till then, Twos.
Thanks very much.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, popping, locking, salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup.